Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of You're Not Ready for This. My name's Kevin, I'm here with Alan. Alan, how are you doing today?
Howdy, everyone.
So, I wanted to ask you a question. Have you ever been trampled on by a horde of people trying to get the best deal on a piece of equipment or product, maybe a TV, maybe a blender, something of that nature, while you were trying to shop for Christmas gifts or presents?
I
Has this ever happened to you?
never happened to me, to be quite honest, given that I avoid going shopping, especially during these holidays.
I'll tell you, man, it's dangerous out there on Black Friday these days. So it's been getting crazy, been getting very crazy. Actually, I have not been trampled on myself. I don't typically participate in the whole Black Friday. I don't want to say nonsense, but the whole Black Friday spectacle. I know a lot of people do enjoy it. I typically don't. To me, it's one of those things where if I can get a good deal on something, I'll try to. But most of the time on these Black Fridays, or the deals that you're getting are on lower end products and stuff that might not be all that good. So yeah, it's that time of year. So let's see what we can figure out. What to talk about.
I, to be quite honest, don't feel the appeal of going out to get. It's always, for some reason, or at least the commonality of what you hear
Mm.
and see in the news, people going to get electronics that are on a cheaper, more accessible price range for most people, and I can understand that. What I can understand is why would you not only expose yourself to harm? From what I gather, people stay up late since the day prior. Even they don't finish digesting their food from Thanksgiving and going and waiting all night just to get a 20, 30, maybe a 50%
Maybe,
off, maybe on something that you
maybe.
can buy all year round, maybe if you save up.
It's true. It's true, and they also have limited supplies, so people are going crazy trying to fight over this stuff. It's ridiculous. I think a lot of it comes down to well, not a lot of it, but I think some of it comes down to specific things that maybe their children are looking for to get the hot new toy this season, and everybody's rushing to get it. And what was that movie? Jingle? Have you seen that movie Jingle All the Way?
That's the
I think it
one.
was called,
That's the one
with
with
Arnold
Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that movie.
I remember, yeah, especially he being the movie star during particularly that era. He had like a costume on that one that he ended up dressing up like the toy that he wanted to buy for his kid.
Yeah, Turbo Man.
Sure, man,
Turbo
you
Man.
really remember that movie very well.
I like that. I actually saw that movie in the theater. Surprisingly enough, I went to see it in the theaters, and it was actually a really fun movie. I like it. If I catch it on one of the TV stations, this time of year, I'll go ahead and give it a watch, because it's a that's kind of reminds me when they're all fighting in the store trying to get Turbo Man. As I always thought that was pretty good.
And
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask you, the how, when, or how did all this start? Like,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you, if you knew how it kind of came about originally. It's kind of interesting. I didn't there I think there's an idea of how it started, and there's a quote unquote story that kind of everybody runs with these days as to how it kind of started, and that's basically that the retailers they're all in the red the whole year, but on the day after Thanksgiving, when everybody's going to the store to buy gifts for Christmas, is when they finally get profits and go into the black. From a financial standpoint, being in the red, negative, and being in the black is positive from a profit standpoint. So that's kind of like what the whole tradition has kind of turned into. But I did do a little bit of research and found out that in all reality, that it was back in 1869 where I think it was a Friday in September, actually, and it was two Wall Street financiers, Jay Gould and Jim Fisk. What they did was they were working together to buy up as much as they could for like all the gold, and they were hoping that this was going to drive the price, skyrocketing, and then they could sell it for huge profits. And I guess they found out that this was now found out that was their plan, and the whole thing kind of fell apart.
Like
and
fire.
and it's yeah, exactly, because obviously what they were doing was not legal, even back in the day. And I guess the stock market fell into a free fall, and it was not doing too good. And that's where they kind of came up with the term Black Friday as a negative connotation. It also had another negative connotation in, I think it was in the 1950s or so, in Philadelphia, where pretty much the day after Thanksgiving, there was a big Army-Navy football game, right? They held that on the Saturday every year after Thanksgiving, and I guess there was hordes of people that would come in for the game, and then they would go to all the stores, and they would do tourists and people shopping, and they would just flood the city on that Friday after Thanksgiving, getting ready for the game, buying stuff, blah blah blah, and they started calling that Black Friday as a and again, a negative connotation as far as it being not a fun day for all the law enforcement personnel trying to keep a rein on all these people. They had long shifts. Obviously, people were probably shoplifting, and I'm sure there was a lot of stuff going on, and it was not fun for them. So it kind of had that negative connotation. And I think as time went on, they started to want to make it more of a positive spin, and that's when they I don't know if somebody came up with that idea, or how it actually turned into the whole idea of the red to black concept of it being from a profitability standpoint from the retailers, and turn it into a positive thing. And obviously the retailers, they eat that stuff up, because it's anytime they can do a good promotion to get people to talk about it, come in and whatnot, it's good for them. So yeah, I found that was a pretty interesting way that it started out negative and now it's positive. And you almost want to say it's kind of negative again, huh?
Think I never saw it in a positive, but that's me personally.
Well,
I mean,
I would
to add to what you just mentioned, from what I gather in the 1950s, it was also a bit of a trend that happened after Thanksgiving, the day prior to
yeah.
Black Friday. That there was a lot of reported absenteeism from employees didn't want to go back to work on a Friday because, I mean, you just took a Thursday off and you want to go to work back on Friday. It's a bit of a, I guess, almost urban legend, or almost shrouded in some degree of mysticism or different accounts,
Yeah.
that that's how retailers started to, let's put a spin on Friday, the day after that. Everyone taking the day off might as well get a penny out of their pockets on the day that they're off.
Well, yeah, and I think it kind of it kind of kicked off the whole Christmas shopping,
The start of the
time of
holidays.
year. That's yeah, it starts. A lot of people going out now and do their. And personally, I like to get my Christmas shopping a heck of a lot earlier, because then I don't have to worry about it. But a lot of people like to go out and start their shopping, and so yeah, I think you're 100% right, and it kind of morphed into that, but now retailers have gone to the point where it's almost comical with some of the stuff that they have out there.
I gotta say, I myself, like I mentioned at the start of the podcast, I haven't participated in Black Friday as far as being on the consumer side of things, but I've been on the other side of the counter.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you if you have been on. Now I have not, so I'm interested to hear how how that was for you.
So I used to work a few years back in Toys R Us.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, and particularly, especially given that date, man, that was the only time that I've been working as far as retail goes on Black Friday, and I was rather lucky because I didn't work every single day. I got assigned a few days, like 3, 4 days to come in and work, and then they will call me and give it like the work hours before the next week. And it just so happens that they assigned the schedule the week prior without thinking too much about it, who was my manager at that time. And they put me to go in at like something like 10 a.m. or 11. And I was not gonna argue with them. And when it happened, they tried to get me to go back in earlier. Oh, I already had things to do. I'm not gonna,
That's it.
I'm not gonna go back early. So when arrived at the store, it wasn't like a big one of those huge stores for Toys R Us. It one of those stores like mall hallway stores for Toys R Us.
Okay.
When I enter the store, usually there's a few things on the walls. We do the merchandising, like they call it. Even if you don't have like all the set for a board game or all the action figures or a toy or something, you kind of bring them to the front so it gives the impression that the store is full. And when I enter the store, I see the mess on the floor, balls going around, the all the hallways for the toys, the board games, everything was like a wind blew through them. I'm like, oh golly, good thing that I didn't come here at 6 or 5 a.m. or something like that. But still, there were people inside the shop. When I went in, I'm like, man, what they're looking for? What's left? And it's just so jarring when I finally get to the cashier register, start working and helping people, and one lady comes and it's like, "Do you guys work on Christmas?" And I'm like, "No, we're closed." And she's asking, "But why?" And I'm looking at this lady, and I didn't mean to be disrespectful. Again, I'm working on as a customer service, basically, and it's like, I have family too, and I celebrate Christmas. I try to say it in the less sarcastic and uh, accusatory tone that I could, but there are people that are very disconnected from the reality of, man, there's a ton of people working not only extended hours, 12, 16, even 18 hours if you're working on a warehouse close to these dates,
Yeah.
and praise on why people even practice going to the stores and buying stuff at a discount. Yeah, I can understand something at a discount, just as you say, but why expose yourself given that it has already been told and there's multiple accounts of people getting injured, or what's the necessity of trampling, rushing in and grabbing something so fast? Like, is really the rush that people feel, or it's just what we as a community, people, society, if you want to call it, we live in a society, the consumerism taking a hold of people, and what defines us is what we own, kind of a deal.
Yeah, and I think that's where I was leading towards when I said it's almost become more of a negative these days, as well, because from a retailer standpoint, it's gotten a little bit ridiculous over the past couple years, where now that they want to open, they want to start their Black Friday sales on Thanksgiving Day, where they don't even either not closed on Thanksgiving at all, and they want people to come in to work, and and then obviously opening up earlier and earlier on that Friday, and it's like, wait a second, these people have families as well. They want to be able to spend their time with their families as well as everybody else. So I mean, are you really making that much profit that you need to have this stuff open on Thanksgiving day or night, and people can't even have their dinners, and they have to go to work because they want to open, and some of them are open all night and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's gotten and that's when that led me to my comment of it's gotten a little bit comical. You know what I mean?
I would say comical and sad. It's almost a tragedy. Like, you're another cog in the machine, especially if you're working during these holidays and particularly these dates.
Yeah.
I don't even want to imagine the people that work at something like Amazon, for example, the long hours that they gotta put in, especially given the all the Prime services, not even considering the environmental consequences. That might be something that we might discuss even down the line as well as part of the conversation. But do you know? I bet you know. You heard of George Carlin, no?
Oh, sure.
Do you know the skit that he has about stuff?
Off the top of my head, I don't recall it specifically, but I probably have seen it
Yeah,
because I've seen a lot of his stuff. So
it's like he starts saying like how your house is just a pile of stuff with a cover on it, and each time that you go out of your house and you close the door on your stuff, you go out to get more stuff so you can buy more stuff. And when you go on a trip, you go with bags that have your stuff because you gotta put your stuff wherever you go. And once you get
right,
to your hotel room, you put your stuff here and there and there. So it feels more like your home because when you go to someone else's house, it feels so alien because there's no space for your stuff. So
right.
and he go about obviously the whole. I'm not gonna do the whole skit, but it's kind of going that line of how everything that we do is defined by the stuff that we have. Maybe not going too deep into it, but if have you obviously growing up, there was those moments that a friend of yours, or even if you were the one to have something, either a toy or a CD player or a cassette player or something that made you stand out among your friends in school, and what you have been the envy of everyone else, like defining what you were basically by the thing that you own.
Yeah, definitely. I've been on. I think I've probably been on both sides, but I recall quite a few times where, I was, in school or whatever. Somebody had to, you know, the Nintendo Entertainment System or something like that that I didn't have when I was a kid, and it's like, yeah, everybody wants to go over to their house and play, or they got the new Transformer that just came out, and they were the only ones that has it. Nobody else has it yet, and it's like, wow, this is cool. And it's funny because you look back on that stuff now, and it seems like it's trivial, but yeah, back then it's when you're younger, sure, but you could probably equate a lot of that to adults doing the same kind of thing as well. It's just the stakes are a lot higher, the prices are a lot higher. Your next door neighbor got a new car. Oh man, I kind of wanted to get a new car now. That kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the preying nature of consumerism, I guess, and people. They're really talking about capitalism or consumerism or
Capitalism.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously one thing leads to the other because it's always thought behind the socioeconomical structure that your value is might not be directly tied to what you do, what you think, what you feel, but tied to the things that you own. So if someone see you in a Corolla going around, it's not the same they see you on a BMW or maybe see you on a very expensive car. So
Hmm.
we, as progressing as it goes, and even it's more hurtful, I think, on teens that they gotta keep up with the trends. If you don't have the Nikes or the Jordans, or you're not using the last iPhone, or that it's kind of a goes between establishing their identity and kind of comparing all the time with others. So it's tough on them because they don't have the acquisitive power. So obviously they gotta go to their parents, and their parents gotta be thinking all year round about that bonus that they're gonna receive to go and grab that item that is gonna be on special on Black Friday or buy on Cyber Monday. That's the new trend. People instead, oh, I'm not gonna go to the store, but I'm gonna go and buy it on Cyber Monday.
What's worse, going to the store and getting trampled on people, or sitting on your computer refreshing your browser every 2 seconds?
You know how Cyber Monday started, right?
No, that one I'm not familiar with how it started.
So it kind of goes back to 2005 or so. The National Retail Federation kind of coined the term on a press release, as a lot of people after Black Friday, they were going back to their jobs on Monday and they were still buying stuff from their computers on their jobs because it was, well, don't know about you, but I didn't have very good internet when I was growing up. So the internet
Yeah.
at school was better than the internet I had back home. So I bet people did the same. They were go buying and browsing stuff still on Monday. And kind of became a trend, and like everything, when retailers see an opportunity and, oh, we can exploit this. Let's make it something official. And now you get everyone waiting to buy stuff as well on Cyber Monday to continue. And you mentioned earlier that stores were opening on Thursday. That's
Yeah.
I believe it's called Gray Thursday, kind of a
Oh, they
before.
have a name for it? I didn't even
Yeah,
know they had a name for it.
yeah,
That's ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure that it's called Great Thursday. Even
I could,
as people going by and forgetting about Thanksgiving, that Thanksgiving out of itself got a whole connotation. But I guess that's another rabbit hole. But just to state it, obviously, for some people, especially Native American, it's a time of mourning,
right.
giving everything about the settlers and kind of bringing diseases and unfortunately the massacres that happened. And obviously, it's widely more put on as the spin of a positive note and everyone coming together and giving thanks for what they have. And yeah, there's a lot of controversy regarding that day out of itself, and then you go into the how everyone goes rushing in to buy stuff discount prices on Friday. And I don't know by the top of my head, but I believe Saturday and Sunday as well got like names as well,
Probably.
and Cyber Monday as well. So they really made it so to they spread out the days that people go and buy stuff to kind of ameliorate the news that we used to hear about people getting trampled over. Even 2008, at least here in the States, there was like a Walmart employee that was killed by a mob, and if after the investigation, it's like they were not able, I believe, to arrest anyone because no one could directly be tied to what happened to that employee.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like a wave. The people who ended up probably crushing the person were just caught up in the wave, just like the person that got killed was. They didn't start it. You're in the middle of it. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
I really, what is you asked about me, but what's your, how can I put the words? What do you think of the consumerist nature of, not necessarily Black Friday, but of people in general? Like, why do you think that they really have the urge to go and buy stuff that they know don't need?
No, and no, I think it's almost like one of my buddies and I, we joke around about this quite often, where it's almost like it's on sale, so it's such a great deal that it's like I'm saving money by buying it, which obviously that's not true, but I think that's how people kind of look at it in their mind, as that this might be something that I've always wanted, or it might even just be something that they want to buy spontaneously. But it's one of those things where it is such a great deal. I'd be dumb not to buy it. It's like I'm saving money by buying it because it's twice as much any time of the year. But right now, I think is this. I'm going to buy it because it's such a great deal. I think that's a lot of it is human nature. I've fought myself on that on a couple occasions where, you see something that's like, oh wow, that's a really good deal. I'm not really sure if I was even wanting to buy that, but it's such a good deal, I probably should get it. And I'm like, wait a second, that's stupid. I don't need it.
But
So
but but but, but on the flip side, have you ever how do you feel about not being able to buy that particular item that you actually wanted or desired and not being able to buy it?
that's where I start to have a little bit of problem. So now we're traversing a little bit into more of like, speaking from the stuff that we're interested in. You see that a lot on video game consoles, where there's limited amounts of stuff that's being produced, and you could even say the same. The phones that are coming out probably are very similar. You have to line up and sign up for pre-orders, and you have to get on either a waiting list, and you want to get it right now. It's kind of crazy because you're really just wanting to get it as soon as possible, and that's really the whole reason behind it. But I think where I have a little bit of an issue is when people specifically buy these products in order to just turn around and sell them. I don't like that. They're trying to make a profit. They shouldn't be doing that. You should be, if you are purchasing the product, you should be purchasing it, for yourself or for a present or for somebody that actually is wanting that product, not just to try to turn around and make a quick buck. And I think that hinders the process because now you have the people who might actually just want to buy the product because they want it, versus the people who are buying up either as many as they can possibly purchase just to try to turn around and sell it to the person who really wants it to try to make a profit. And I think that's detrimental to the industry as a whole.
But I guess
You know,
it's economics to some extent, and that's predates even way back when traders kind of got a hold of something that they saw on a cheaper. In one location, they travel a bit, and they sell it in another location more expensive, and it's just economics. It's just trading. It's just doing it. But obviously nowadays more evident or rampant that people do it, buying
well,
all
it's
the PlayStation 5s and then selling more expensive.
it's do they're taking advantage. See, they're taking advantage of limited quantities. These companies can only make X amount of these products per month or year or whatever, and they're taking advantage of them not being able to. Who's going to pay $800 for a PS5 when you can go down to the Best Buy and just pick one up off the shelf for the normal price of $499? Nobody. But when you can't, they're taking basically they're just taking advantage of supply and demand.
Yeah, and the same happens particularly with individuals. Oh well, no individuals. I'm going the other way around. When these stores or mega stores, brands actually release items only on Black Friday, so people have to go to the stores and buy them
Yes.
physically. And
Yes.
there are things that you can only buy on Black Friday because they specifically made it so there are limited quantities and you have to
Yep.
go physically to the place to get it.
Well, they want you in the place because they want you to buy other stuff.
You're more that's something that I was gonna go into. People are more likely after getting their huge TV, they're gonna put beside the other 2 or 3 TVs that they got at their home.
Yeah.
They're gonna grab more stuff that they see that is, oh, let me get this. Oh, let me get this.
Yep.
I know I don't want to say names, but
Uh-oh.
I know people that buy stuff to have it stored and they never use it. It's still on the boxes, stored away somewhere, and they either go later and return it because they got another one, they saw another one or whatever, or not even for the purpose of reselling. It's just in case. Let me have it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's not so just in case. Let me have like my emergency supplies or a first aid kit or things that might be critical for some situation. No, they have like an extra toaster, an extra waffle maker, an extra coffee maker, an extra set of towels for the bathroom, an extra set of curtains, an extra set of clothes that they actually don't wear. And all of that, people are told, oh, well, you can go and donate it because it becomes such a thing that trends are set. You buy the new tennis, the new pants, the new shirts or whatever by your favorite brand. Not saying any brand particular because I guess everyone is to a fault to some extent. And there's a huge misconception. Well, you donate it and they're going to go, someone that actually need it and give it to them. There's so much clothes being made that there's a whole, it's not even a landfill, it's a desert in Chile. If I'm not mistaken, it's Atamaca, that is full of tons of clothes that come from all over the world, from Europe, China, the States. They arrive at the ports, they distribute it, sell it, and even donate it to the extent that they can. And still, there have tons of clothes that are just set aside. They don't move it to the landfills because of the chemicals and the properties of the clothes that are not biodegradable. cannot be reused unless they're processed to very particular means. And you can see photos from afar of all the tons of clothes that are just lying there that slowly are becoming a hazard. And it's like, what? Why do we keep buying stuff that we don't need and selling them? And it's always this that we gotta produce, we gotta sell, we gotta produce, we gotta consume. It's kind of a fierce crazy when you kind of see it. Like, man, what are we even doing?
It was a doorbuster, so obviously they had to get it.
Just busting the door, huh?
No, I do like the term doorbuster. I always get a kick out of that. But in the Black Friday circulars, they always have doorbusters.
That's how they sell it, doorbusters.
Doorbusters, man. It's one of my favorite things is to look at the Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. I like to look at all the circulars and the pamphlets from all the stores for their doorbuster sales. I get a kick out of it, but yeah, no, you're 100% right. It's crazy. It's I guess it's human nature. For the most part.
Maybe jamming on a bit of what we said earlier, like you see your neighbor that has a car, and hey, maybe I want to grow. So how many commodities can I have so someone can see me as an individual of worth? So
yeah, and I think I was gonna say I think there's a line also. I think there's also people out there that they like what they like. You know what I mean? So some people like fast cars or luxury cars, and other people just look at a car as something that transport them from point A to point B. But you're right. A lot of times it can become a status symbol. It can become a competition. So I try not to wrap everybody into a category of that being them just being a status symbol, trying to show off to everybody, because there are people that really enjoy specific brands, specific products.
How much? Obviously, it's all hypothetical, and obviously putting questions there to answer, or maybe kind of get the thought process going. How much the things that people say they like or they want is like a created want and a created need versus something that you on yourself went to the process of, I need this because of X or Y reason, or it was an artificially created need that you saw, like you say, a doorbuster, and went and grabbed that item, or only loyal to a particular brand for X or Y reason.
From my standpoint, I'll look at, and I think you're probably similar, because we've had discussions off air specifically around games that
Yep.
we'll look at. There might be stuff that we want, but we're going to specifically wait for a deal or for a sale or something like that. From my standpoint, an impulse buy, usually it's still going to be, even if I see something on a Black Friday that's a good deal, and let's say if I want to pick it up, it's still most of the time going to be something that I had wanted to pick up in the past, or I can see a need for it. I'm not the type to just go ahead and say, well, that's just a great deal, I can't pass it up, and then never use whatever it is I bought just because I thought it was a good deal. So I try to be conscious of that, because I'm sure I've done it in the past, and
Oh yeah,
I'm sure I caught myself. So yeah.
I'm putting my thought process out there just for discussion, but at the same time, oh dude, I've been guilty as well in the past. I'm more conscious now, but definitely I've been I'm being guilt, put the lock me up, throw away the key kind of a situation, because I bought things in the past that I'm like, did I really need this? And more so, speaking from experience, I now more so don't wait for a Black Friday. Like, if there's something that I really need, I buy it because I'm gonna do something with it. It's not that I'm gonna buy something that I may need in the future for whatever reason. I'm trying as much as I can to be as minimalistic, I guess is the word, as I can. And especially with me moving around so much, I'm even thinking of, man, do I really have to be carrying all of my stuff from one place to the other? Thinking back to George Carlin. I may need less stuff than the ones that I have right now.
Yeah. I mean, dude, as much as I'm ashamed to admit it, I do have games on my shelf, and DVDs and or Blu-rays on my shelf that are not open.
Because they're collector's items, quote unquote, or
No, because I wanted to buy it at the time, and I never got around to playing it or watching it.
yeah.
So yeah, no,
Man, what do you remember Fight Club?
no. You know what's funny is I have actually never watched Fight Club.
You never watched Fight Club?
I've never seen Fight Club.
Oh man, I want.
I
Well,
know, I know.
can I ask why?
No reason, no reason. I've never, it has never been interested in it, or I haven't avoided it for any specific reason, and I haven't I haven't watched it because I just never have. No reason, no real reason.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's the same like me. There's a ton of movies that I haven't seen, but it's not like I've gone out of my way. Just that it hasn't come to an opportunity of it hasn't been on my purview of immediate things that I want to see. I'm not gonna spoil the movie for you because I believe it's a great movie and to some extent stands the test of time in a few topics. Not gonna say the characters or anything, but I'm gonna say just one line and let me know what you think of the line without the context in the movie. But there's a character that is talking to another in a restaurant, and whatever happened for them to get to that point, one tells the other, kind of a paraphrasing, the things you own end up owning you.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to think of it. That's for sure, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you have a house and you're going to dedicate most of your time maintaining the house, making sure the pipes are fine, the faucets are fine, there's no leaks, there's everything like the grass is up to your preferable levels, or if you are in a homeowners association, it's to the acceptance. You gotta paint your house, you gotta take care of the roof. You got a car, you gotta do the same. You gotta give it to maintenance, you gotta change the tires, you gotta change the filters, you gotta be careful when you're driving it. You gotta make sure that it's enough gas in the tank. You own a PC, you gotta make the updates, make sure that it's not infected. You gotta make sure that it doesn't get too much dust so it doesn't overheat. I know that it might be going into a extreme, but just think about it. Those were a few examples, but when you really sit down, the more stuff that you own, the more stuff owns you, in a way.
You're 100% correct. It's one of those it's one of those situations though where you are able to now take advantage of certain things, certain aspects that are either fun or enjoyable, versus having to sacrifice quite a bit without owning certain things and whatnot. So there's that trade-off. But yeah, I can definitely see how you can look at it in a way that that you can literally say that the stuff that you own owns you, for that exact reason that you just described.
I would recommend that you watch that movie.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I know it's not a new movie.
Oh no,
Yeah, it's one of those that I just never gotten around to seeing. So I'll look up, see if it's on any of the streaming services I currently subscribe to, and I'll have to give it a watch and report back to you.
yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Without giving any spoilers, obviously, it has a lot of topics that are relevant. Some might seem a bit dated, as far as some of the cultural shifts that we've been gone through, but still has a very particular message, especially for men and all that. But not getting too much into it. Going back to Black Friday and all the things that we see and consumerism. Have you seen any unboxing like videos of people
Videos?
videos getting stuff out of boxes?
Yeah, you know, I've seen a bunch of them. I frowned upon them because I'm like, come on, man, this is pointless. And then I've watched a couple like, oh, this is awesome. So yeah, I think they're kind of ridiculous, but they're also kind of awesome at the same time. Usually I'll watch it if it's maybe something that I'm planning on picking up, maybe a video game console or something like that, or maybe like I've seen some on some models that were really cool. Somebody unboxing a like maybe like a diecast model of something, or some expensive statue or something like that. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know if they're ridiculously dumb or ridiculously awesome. So
I can't say. Obviously, there's a ton, but the one of the first ones that I saw, and still to this day, I don't follow them, but I don't follow them as in I'm not subscribed, but I used to watch them just out of curiosity. When I say maybe 8, 10 years ago or something,
yeah,
I maybe this is the time when your perspective of time passage is getting dilated. Like you're like, wait, was it that 8 years ago already? Man,
I know. It's already, yeah, exactly.
I know that it was some time ago. I might be bloating the number, but there's a channel called Unboxing Therapy that got over 18 million subscribers. Most likely, you know the guy. He makes the unboxing very entertaining. To be quite honest, like you go
Okay.
the new iPhone or a set of usually it's technological gadgets and items and products, and more so than going into a very extensive technical inspection of the things, because he's doing it at the moment for maybe he did the video on a few days or on a few hours. It's the appraisal of, I guess, the what they call the ASMR of you kind of sliding the boxes and tearing apart the papers or the plastic out of the screens. You know that feeling of moving the plastic away, like
Yeah.
kind of a deal. Why do I bring the topic of unboxing? And I guess people are very influenced by that, and they consume based on what they see. And there's even whole people doing channels out of the base of let's buy stuff so people see it while we take it out, so they go and buy it so they have the same experience of just buying to take it out of the box.
Yeah, it's it is crazy. In the past that I've usually liked to, I'll watch them just to see. I want to see what's in, what comes with it. But it's true because some of that stuff is the same. For me personally, like when let's say a new console comes out, do I need to buy the PlayStation 5 on the day it comes out? No, of course not. Is there going to be a lot of games that are going to be on the PlayStation 5 when it first comes out on that day? No, no, no. Console generations they last a long time, and they traverse into the next generation. Specifically this one, PS4, PS5 has been and the Xbox One to Series X has been much longer than normal, but I love the whole brand new stuff. It's opening up, like you said, opening up the box, opening up the plastic, and you get to smell the new hardware, and it's like, wow, this is awesome. You get to set it up for the first time. It's fun. It's exciting. It's part of the experience, but it's unnecessary.
I mean, obviously, it's not so much a call to admonish or uh, how do you vilify the whole you getting the stuff that you have been working all year long that you want. You're busting your ass out there and working extended hours, and you finally get the chance to go and buy it.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's not demonizing that as a whole, but more so the aspect of buying things or stuff that you don't need, that you're made to believe that you need, kind of in that line, things that you need and things that you already have. How much of the things stuff that you have you try to repair before you throw it away and buy a brand new one?
you know, uh, to me, there's one thing for me specifically. I don't like replacing. Now, I'm talking more specifically electronics like TVs, receivers, audio equipment. I'm the type of person that usually does not like to replace something that's currently working. So if when I upgrade, it's usually when something fails, when something dies. So when something stops working, I have zero hesitation to go out and purchase a new one to replace it. I know people, and I've known people that will buy the new hotness TV regardless of, and boom, boom, and they'll replace their current TV. I typically don't like doing that. So I try to be, more conscious when it comes to doing stuff like that. And if I can repurpose something, all the better. If I can give the product that I'm replacing that's still working to somebody else that can actually utilize it and use it, that'd be great as well. But I don't I won't replace something that's working and just toss it or whatever. So, but if something's broken, to your question, if something breaks, yeah, I'll buy a new one. I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
I don't try to repair. Your question was more specifically, am I going to try to repair it? Typically not, because it's not cost effective nowadays.
so I have the distinct memory, especially now. My father invested a lot of time. He had a like an electrical saw. It stopped working. He tried to the extent that he knew he was an electrician, so obviously he knew his stuff. And he tried to repair the stuff, and most of the time he would get it repaired. But sometimes, after investing a lot of time and maybe the parts were not accessible, or they no longer sell that kind of a tool, or there were newer ones, and he'd been carrying around that tool for maybe 10, 15 years, because they were
Mm-hmm.
very heavy duty tools. And after a time, obviously, he would go and buy a new one if he wasn't able to repair it. But as time went on, the new one that he started getting lasted less and less and less.
Yep.
And it's
Yep.
not, it's not like he was throwing them around or whatever. Obviously, by use, wear and tear, they're gonna be less effective.
Yep.
But more so that things are being produced on a higher rate, the quality as well, to some extent, goes even down and down. Uh,
Yep.
and I myself find, especially when things are electronics that I have some degree of knowledge, I try to repair them to the extent
Yeah.
that I can. But say something recent, to give a very concrete example, my air fryer. I have an air fryer. Ooh.
Oh,
The air fryer, the basket started to get rust. I guess,
really? Okay.
yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's a danger hazard. So I have options. I can actually, I don't have the tools, and I live in a apartment complex, so it's hard not making noise and not bother the neighbors. I had my own place, it would be, I guess, I had I had a place to put my stuff that I didn't bother everyone else's stuff. I would maybe not be thinking so much about it, but
Sure.
I would buy a tool to kind of get the rust out of the basket, not having to think that I have to buy a new one, but given the circumstances, solve the damage. And I'm like, well, if I start cooking with this, I'm gonna get rust all over my system, most likely. So
Yeah.
I went and buy another one. I had the option to repair that one, and I should have, but I was thinking of not bothering the neighbors, so I ended up not doing it.
No, you couldn't just replace the basket.
Yeah, I replaced the basket,
Oh,
but
just okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
no, no,
Not
no,
you.
no. I know
Yeah.
I didn't buy a whole new air fryer.
Okay. All right. Because you had
No,
me there for a second.
no,
Like,
but
come on, man, just replace the basket.
no, no, but that's the thing. The I could have repaired the basket,
Yeah.
and you say, oh, mama, you're gonna be so petty that you're not gonna buy another one. But just think about it. I just threw away that basket, goes in the trash, goes to a
Yep.
landfill, and it's
Yep.
gonna be sitting out there, rotting away until I don't know how many years it's gonna take for that thing to be consumed.
I
Uh,
know.
it's just that how much do we even evaluate? That's already been taken out of the equation. Do you do the enough self-evaluation that either you don't have the time because you have a very busy life schedule, you have kids, you have a family that you need to take care of, and the so little time that you're gonna be not only maintaining the house, maintaining the car, maintaining the PC, and all this little stuff that are around your house, are you gonna be spending time repairing? It's already been put in the mind of everyone that it's so accessible for you go online, click the buy button, and it's gonna be on your door the next day, especially if you're paying Prime or any of the other services.
Yep. No doubt. I mean, I mean, I don't think a lot of people do think about that, honestly. Um, I don't think I even think about it as often as I should. I think a lot of times the sentiment will be, that's not my responsibility to to pay attention to. Once I'm done with it and it goes to the landfill, there should be other companies or other people that are taking care to make sure that doesn't happen. But that's not really true. It's everybody needs to be able to pitch in to do what they can to help alleviate the negative impacts that these the stuff has. So yeah, it's something we all should be conscious of. But it's also difficult as well. Your example is a great one because you what you did wasn't anything wrong. Your basket went bad and you got a new one. But you take that exponentially to everything else, and you get to kind of to where we're at now, right?
Yeah, and that's and
But
that and
yeah,
that's me and the neighbor and the other person, and obviously, commodity is something that is hard to give up, and people are not gonna give up commodities. Maybe not giving it up, but being maybe more self-conscious about it. What can you repurpose, repair, maybe?
yeah, or at
Uh,
the very least, recycle.
yeah, and the oh man, there's a lot of misconception around recycling as well. People,
There is.
yeah, people think that you throw a bottle on the crystal bin and it's gonna be recycled, and sometimes it cannot be done because of the proper procedures that needs
I
to be
know.
in place, and not everything that is thrown away can be recycled, maybe
Right.
reused, but
Right.
it went one time from crystal bottles, for example. That I guess the classical example that they use when they're making that explanation. They went from using crystal bottles to using plastic, and it's harder for plastic to be uh, handled the proper way because
Yep.
you gotta take into consideration it's gotta be cleaned up. Gotta bacteria is being in the trash for who knows how long, being reprocessed, and it's not like they put it on a heater, they boil it, and they do make another bottle. There's a whole process behind it,
Yep.
and that's one example of it. Apply that to all the other products that we use, and that's a very immediate concern that we're not able to recycle. And companies tend to go in that direction. Oh, just recycle the product and everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna keep trying to increase my profits and buying raw materials and making new products. But I myself,
Well, that's just it.
I myself, not gonna be the one recycling it. I'm gonna leave that to someone else that is gonna be responsible for that.
Right, because the company is worried about one thing, and it's profitability and cost effectiveness. So that's their main concern. If they can make something cheaper, even if it's detrimental to the environment or more difficult to recycle, like you said, they don't care. That's not their problem in their mind.
Nope.
It's crazy.
It's a very sensitive topic, and I know that we've given some examples and
Yeah.
we've given some experience. Do you yourself have any other experiences regarding like Black Friday, or not even Black Friday, like in general, something that you witnessed or experienced regarding like buying something and not needing it, or kind of buying the whole topic of the conversation?
Yeah, not specifically that I can think of, other than some of the examples like I bought movies and stuff that I've never, opened or something like that. I'm also the type of person that doesn't usually like to throw things away. I'm not a, not a hoarder by any stretch of the imagination, but I would probably consider myself more of a pack rat. I don't like getting rid of things because you never know, I might need it at some point in time. So, yeah, but I don't have anything specifically that I can think of really. I'm trying to think if I had anything, maybe like a decent purchase that was something that I probably didn't need or not. I've been pretty good when it comes to that kind of stuff.
That's good to hear
Um,
then.
yeah, for the most part, I don't really have anything that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's stuff out there.
Would you
There's definitely stuff, but
would you make any proposal to people listening in as far as consumerism and Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or
a proposal as far as
I mean, it is out of itself something that is not seen as a problem. It makes more seen it's already part of
Yeah,
our livelihood. So maybe
I think
being more informed of what's going on, or buying less, doing a more maybe self-evaluation like we were talking earlier, or repairing, reusing stuff.
yeah, I think that would be beneficial to most everybody. Retailers aren't going to like to hear that. But yeah, I definitely think that it would be more beneficial to people to especially repurpose or at the very least, you know, especially if it's equipment that still works, products that still work. Donate this stuff, give it to Goodwill, um, the Salvation Army, things of that nature, to allow other people to still be able to utilize working, equipment that maybe can't afford to purchase stuff brand new or whatever the case may be. Instead of just tossing it, instead of just throwing it away, and getting your upgrade or whatever. I'm a big proponent when it comes to giving stuff like that, because I always think it's good for everybody if I feel a lot better if somebody else can utilize something that I'm not using anymore, if it's still working properly.
That is serviceable. Oh, that really makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. So, but yeah, most definitely, people, if you don't need the doorbuster, then you might not want to
door,
might not want to pick it up.
the doorbuster, man.
Love the doorbusters, man.
Well, man, do you have anything else for us?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that was definitely an interesting conversation that we delved into, starting with Black Friday, and to being a little bit more, self-conscious when it comes to a lot of this stuff. But, like you said, I think Black Friday could, it's not obviously the cause, but it can definitely contribute to a lot of the wastefulness, because of the the nature that it's become, over recent years. I will say that I'm a little bit more pleased to see that a lot of the bigger companies have started to stop opening on Thanksgiving, and making it back to more of the traditional, just on Friday. Let these people spend time with their family, please. It's a holiday for a reason. Holidays are meant to be spent with your family members, and not working, and definitely not trampling over people to get the new Tickle Me Elmo or whatever it is this year.
Do they still sell that?
I don't know, man.
I'm so far removed. I don't even know what toys are
I
there
don't know.
anymore.
All I know is I had a girl. When I was back in New Jersey, my girlfriend, she wanted one of them damn Tickle Me Elmos for Christmas, and I couldn't get it. I could not get one. I never did get the damn Tickle Me Elmo, and
you,
I
you,
was
you,
so I always remember that.
you're scarred. You go to sleep and you see the tickle me emo.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
You didn't get me.
Nope.
Kevin.
I know. Exactly. Exactly. Tortured to this day.
Well, everyone, I hope that you spend the holidays as best as you can. Be safe and don't go looking for tickle me elmos, I guess.
So yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to our cast about Black Friday, and hopefully everybody has a good Thanksgiving.
Take care, everyone.
Enjoy.